What is up, guys? My name's Jeff. That's my wife. This is My Wife Still Likes Me, as you can see. We are going to talk about partnerships. We'll be right back.
What year is it again?
All of that really is my wife.
Should I leave?
And we're going to roll an intro I haven't made yet, but hopefully it looks good.
Your voice changes when you do that.
Still married, I think.
Oh my gosh.
How are you?
Good.
You sure?
Great.
Okay. Ooh, I like this one.
That scares me.
Because we have had a lot of chaos. Uncommon questions. Go get them. They're not sponsored. We just like them. When is a time in the last year that you have felt at peace?
That's hard.
Right? That's a good question.
That is.
If you don't understand why that's hard, go watch the video before this where I tell you why our life has been flipped upside down in the last 8 months. It's been a year. In the last year, why our life has been flipped upside down.
Oh my goodness.
The short answer is I've had a major career change. Career change? Not career change. Career direction.
Life changes.
Life changes. Our set is different because we're not in the same house anymore. And our TV got smaller.
Well, no, this is a new TV because the big TV is in with children entertaining them. At peace, I think. So context, I work full time and I am in school now full time. So lots of shenanigans, being a mom, being a wife, and all the other stuff that goes along with it. So I communicated to my husband, weird how we're talking about this now. I told him I just needed a break. And so my wonderful husband told me to, and this is a common thread in our marriage, is okay, go, goodbye. I got to spend 4 hours by myself and I just went and I didn't have anybody hanging on me. I didn't have anybody, mommy. So it was glorious. And I got to come home and just exhale. And I didn't realize I'd been holding my breath for so long. So that's been the most recent one. What about you?
When I'm sleeping. No, I think there's a lot of emotion packed into this one, but probably the most at peace. Both, I have two, and they're both in my car.
Oh, yes.
The first one was the day I drove it home. Because it was raining. The girls had fallen asleep, which is amazing. And
surprising.
Just first trip up the mountain, first trip in the car, like coming home. And I was just like, this is it. And the second one was taking David to Pikes Peak because there was no
Agenda.
requirements. We just got in the car and left. Anyway, yeah. And when I'm sleeping. So today's topic is partnership. We are a team. That's the idea that we're supposed to do this together. Arguably, marriage is not 50-50. It is 100% on me and 100% on you. And I think it was Chris Rock that said in a stand-up show, I saw it on TikTok. I'm sorry. Chris Rock said, marriage isn't tough. It's only tough when two people aren't working on it.
Facts.
And I was like, oh, that hurts a lot because I think he's right. Anyway, I think too often in relationships, at least the people that we talk to that are married, I talk with my hands apparently.
Yeah.
The people that I talk to get to a point where they're silos in their family. Like I'm the wife, but I'm over here doing my thing and the husband's doing his thing and there's no team effort. It's I'm married, but I don't really remember why or what happened or at some point in however many years. Yeah, roommate. Exactly. This is why we do this together. Anyway, I couldn't imagine being married to a roommate. That's just weird. Like, hey, make sure you leave your part of the rent on the table after we record today.
Yeah, yeah. And that's not a knock on those who do finances separate. That's personal choices.
Yes.
But yeah, yeah. I think marriage is a lot of choices. You can either choose to help your spouse out and choose to be in a partnership and be in a relationship, or you can choose not to. And that's when the strain comes back. Like when you
Yeah.
stop dating and
Good
stop,
grief, I hope we never stop dating.
right? But when you actively stop pursuing your partner, that's when that's a lot
Yeah.
of peas.
That's why that fuzzy thing's on your mic.
But that's when the problems start is, when you stop pursuing that person, you stop investing in it,
Yeah. And I think that's stop pursuing your partner. That like really sticks like in my head. Because I feel like we make an effort to try to, I mean, we don't do date night as often as we'd like date night by ourselves. Like we go out together regularly, which is awesome. I know a lot of people don't. And I think that's part of our what do you do about it is date each other. But it's the thought that eventually we get to the point to where it feels that one person in the relationship is doing all the work of trying to
Yes.
keep the relationship and the other half is not. And that just gets really frustrating for the person who's all in and the other person without the right words is in it for the status. Like I'm married because I need to be. I'm married because it looks better. And they're, watching football or working 18, 20 hours a day and not at home being part of the family. And so it's what's the process or what's the transition to go from that side to being both halves in 100%.
Yeah. And I think that's, again, choices and conversation, because realistically, I'm the breadwinner. I work 8-ish hours a day. Sometimes it's more like 10, but whatever. And then I get done with work, usually right around dinner time, and we eat dinner together as a family on purpose by choice because we want to spend that time together. And then I do school, and I'm doing school online, but I could choose to go hide in my office, hide in my room, sit in a different part of the house. But one thing that we have done to be purposeful about spending our time together is I'll sit next to you. Jeff has a new favorite video game. It's hilarious.
Oh my gosh, go play Farm Simulator any year. It's amazing.
Oh my
It is
gosh.
the biggest time waster I have discovered in my life. But to her point, she does homework on a laptop sitting next to me on the couch while I play video games because she could go sit in her office at the other end of the house or I could say, no, you can't come sit next to me. That would be weird.
That would be,
Yeah.
not that I'd listen, but,
Yeah.
So it's a lot of choices. And I think, granted, right now, we have an amazing family unit that helps us out. But right now in our current place where we live, we don't have that network anymore. So we don't have the option to go out on the frequent date nights like we used to. So we have to choose. And I don't have as much time as I used to. So the nights that we do, curl up and watch a movie, it's on purpose because we could realistically just be on our phones scrolling through social media, doing the times, suck.
Yeah. Because the reality is we all have work. Even I'm not the breadwinner, but I do have work.
Yeah, but
I
think,
know that's...
But my day is a little bit more rigid.
Yours is structured, and I'm self-employed, so I work arguably when I feel like it. But I can move my schedule around to be the I don't want to say primary parent because that's not the right word, but
You're the chauffeur, though.
Yes, I'm Mr. Mom. It's okay. Because I'm the one. and this is going to get into stuff we're going to talk about later on in what I think is chores is a broad term, not like the actual chores, but all this stuff. Like I take the kids to school, then I do my work day, and then I pick the kids up from school, and then I do homework with the kids, and then dinner. But you're at work doing work stuff and bettering your career and doing all of those things, which is fine. But I could see where this system doesn't necessarily work for the two
Everyone.
full-time parent family.
Yeah. And when we were both working full time, because you had a 9 to 5 that was physically exhausting.
Oh yeah,
That's
we were talking about this the other day.
Yep. That one that part of our lives was a little bit more difficult because we hadn't truly nailed down the best communication. It was still a work in progress. And one thing that I was struggling with was communicating well. And I think that's
Oh yeah.
a huge miss on women.
If there was a theme that I could put on all of the shows that we've done and all of the shows that Mike and I have done, it's communication. Like that's number one. But it's what are we talking about? Like, because we can sit and talk. Like I can tell you everything that just happened in the Alabama-Texas game.
And I don't care.
Right. But we could sit at dinners or date nights and stuff like that and talk about here's our problem, issue, thing we need to figure out, and how do we go in on it. So the idea is we all have work eventually, or maybe if this is your chosen direction in life, you all have kids. You all have free time. We'll call it free time, right? And then all of the extra things, going to school, trying to make a side hustle work. And we'll add it in, we'll try to be kid friendly, being mentally and physically intimate with your spouse. All of that stuff still has to happen. And if you're not 100% in, I don't want to say all the time because there are just some days where you just don't have it. And that's fine. But the problem is the some days turn into all the days.
Time. Yeah.
And so it's, how do you fix that isn't the right word. How do you work towards getting back to being 100% all in?
Yeah. One of the things that we struggled with is, just me being honest with myself of where I was struggling. Because, one of the unspoken things that women have to deal with is the mental pressure. Like, I have to be the perfect mom. I have to be the perfect wife. I have to be, if you are working full time, I have to be, continuing my career to be that next step. And then you come home and then the mental pressure of having, for me, it's a sink full of dishes. Everybody has that one thing that they just like, they see it and it just drives them crazy. Everybody's different. But where we finally had to figure it out is you didn't understand what I was dealing with. And I have anxiety on top of all of that. So it made it super, super fun for me to finally be able to admit that I was struggling. And I think that's where a lot of women, especially, and not that men don't deal with this too, but the mental pressure of having to get to the certain bar that we set.
Sure. And I think that works for both sides. That I think the bar, we talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
That the bar I set for myself is probably like 4 times higher than it needs to be. And then we have realistic conversations and date days where we bring it back down to, hey, let's try just this. Or
you don't have to do all the things.
I don't have to do all the things, but things like I will not take a day off. And like I publicly stress the fact that everybody should have a day off. Like don't do dishes, like any of those things. Like we're recording this on a Saturday, and if you have somebody under the age of 15, have them plug their ears real quick. Our kids don't have chores on Saturdays. We still ask them like, hey, the pets need to be fed, and sometimes the trash needs to be taken out, but there's no hard structured family requirement on Saturday. And that'll be something we talk about later on with chores. But
Our son has now dubbed Saturdays as Electronics Day.
yes. Oh my goodness. But Sunday through Friday, everybody has the same list of chores. It rotates, so not everybody has to empty the dishwasher. But sitting down and having this kind of conversation with your spouse and go through and watch all of the communication things we had earlier, talking about, hey, can we make some time tonight or tomorrow to talk about our priorities and our direction? I originally thought about how do we talk about values as a couple? But then I was like, well, there's values of how we're going to be good parents. There's values of how we're going to take care of the house, and there's values of expectations. Like there are some, single moms that they have to take care of the car and make sure the kid makes it on the bus. And
Yep.
then there's normal's not the right word. I'm sorry.
Overrated.
Traditional, if you will, couples like us, where I generally take care of our cars, and if your car makes noise, you tell me, and then I fix it. But
Yeah, but traditional too is there are some people in their marriage, the expectation is that the woman is the one who takes care of the children and they're the primary parent, and the father is just there to whoop butts when they're not meeting certain expectations, and then the husband goes to work every day. So that doesn't work for us. It does work for others, but
yeah,
you make do with what you got. But
sure. So do this, right? Go on a date.
yes,
If you can do it without your kids,
even better.
even better. Take a drive, whatever, and go talk about what you need from your spouse.
Yes.
And guys, the answer is not just more doing it. I'm sorry, it's not.
It's not. Because women, let me tell you a secret. Well, let me look at this camera. Women are not going to want to be intimate in any capacity if they have a mental block. Write that down, because realistically, there was a point when we were having low together time. I'm like, how do we keep this PG? And a lot of it was because I went to work at 5 a.m. and then I went and you dropped the kids off on your way to work. And then I came home, I got off at 1:30, and I would go hit up the grocery store, do like one quick stop that took me maybe 5 minutes, go get the kids, bring the kids back to the house, get the chores done, get dinner started, and then you would come waltzing in at like 5:30, 6 o'clock, depending on traffic, and then you were mentally done for the day. And so I had 16-ish hours days because I put them to bed and everything else. At that time of day, I was done. And so I had that mental block of exhaustion. And when I finally was able to open up and have that conversation that I was struggling with all this, that's when we were able to connect on a different level. And not that chores is the magic answer, but it's kind of the magic answer of helping your spouse.
Yeah, and we'll get in, like, that's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
But yes, there are so many things we need and so many expectations that are from past generations that are not the reality of
Yes.
your situation, right? And tradition is awesome. There are a lot of good things we can take tradition,
yeah.
but just because your family did it that way doesn't mean your current family or the direction you want to go has to do it. Because in our current thing now, I take the kids to school. I work at home, wherever I put my feet up. I have a laptop or an iPad. That's where I do work. And then I do the homework and then pick the kids up and cook. And so that's 180 degrees different from
Both of
10 years
parents.
ago. I
Yeah.
don't remember how old the kids are.
Yeah.
But there's also things like, we do date days with our kids and date days with each other and stuff like that.
Yeah, but we also have purposely, like when we kind of have a code for when I can half pay attention or you can half pay attention and when I need your full attention. So
Sure.
date days is one of those, like, we put our phones away and sometimes we even bring notebooks. So,
Yeah.
it's that undivided attention. And I read a study that even having your phone on the table, even if it's face down, you're less likely to have a deep conversation. And I found that fascinating.
Yeah. I get picked on about this at church all the time because I bring my phone everywhere. And last weekend I didn't take my phone at all, and it was I felt naked.
Yeah. But I mean, even if it's in your pocket, because like we can't always just go on a date and not be tethered.
Oh, sure.
So, just even leaving it in my purse, in your pocket, whatever, leaving it in the car, or only one of you taking your phone. It's that unplugged.
Yeah.
So, yes,
Or
suggestions.
I was like, or somebody you don't have to worry about leaving your kids with. Like,
True.
if one of our parents was watching our kids and something happened and we didn't know till we got back,
Yeah.
that would be okay. Anyway, go on a date, talk about it, figure it out, because either one of you not working on your marriage all the time consistently leads to one person feeling resentful because they feel like they're the only one putting any effort, and then you end up having a whole different issue and different conversation.
Yep.
All right.
We should probably do our counselor plug.
We are.
Oh, okay.
We have to stop talking first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's the last thing on the list.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have the list.
One of us is the driver. The other one's the commentator. I'm the driver. You're the commentator.
I just look good.
I agree. That is the right answer every time. Anyway, disclaimer, we will transition into that one. We are not mental health professionals. Mental health is serious. It is not something to be ashamed of. If you feel like you need more than our casual, somewhat humorous take on our lives and how they apply, go find a mental health professional, a marriage counselor, somebody who can help you process to get to where you want to go. As always, you can find us at My Wife Still Likes Me or mywifestilllikesme.com. Comment, like, subscribe, tell us all the things that you want to talk about. You can tell us what you don't want to talk about, but I can't promise that we're going to not talk about it.
Right.
You'll just have to skip that episode.
Yeah.
Or maybe you should listen because if you don't want to talk about it, that might be a bigger issue.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh,
what?
Marriage counseling is okay.
Yeah.
I'm just,
together.
Go together.
Marriage counseling by yourself does not work.
Yes. So it's okay to not be okay.
We are not your mental health professionals. We are having fun trying to make you think about how you can apply different strategies to your marriage.
Yes.
Okay. Peace.